The lunch break of day 27 of the Undercover Policing Inquiry. We've spent all morning listening to the live evidence of Bob Lambert. He has been his usual difficult self. We have heard a lot of his speculation. We've heard a lot of... he's answered pretty much... I don't recall the majority of questions. He did go on a 10-minute off-topic diatribe about how he truly did love Belinda Harvey, and that but he never lost sight of who he was as an undercover police officer. He reiterated that he believed that she was part of the same circle as his target group, and that she lived in a squat. All things which he accepted weren't the case last week. We've had a lot of questions about his role in the second wave of incendiary devices which were never planted but led to the arrest of Andrew Clark and Jeff Shepherd. The majority of the questions to do with a report of his is shown, and he says he has nothing to add apart from just confirming that it's his report. He does this in the most long-winded way possible and answers any other further questions with Jeff Shepherd told me. Anyway, I'm joined with Eveline Lubbers of the Undercover Research Group, who probably read more of it than I did. What did you make of it, Eveline?
What can I say? He's not saying anything. The word salad applies. We had a very funny incident here with Mitting at the elevators. He's always going to get his own lunch. And we said that was the longest answer in the entire inquiry. And he quipped 12 minutes was the longest so far. We've calculated. So apparently they're doing the same thing as we do, which makes you wonder why Lambert isn't stopped, or at other opportunities, I would have said let him waffle on a bit, because he might say something important. But in this case, it was lie on lie on lie. Like you said, Belinda didn't live in a squat. We established that last week. He continued now that it was very effective and handy for him, very heartless with Belinda listening here. To have a girlfriend nearby so he could have a few more drinks and then didn't need to drive to get to sleep. Linda, meanwhile, said, it was not just the 10-minute answer, it was more. Belinda said, I wasn't even living there till later. I wasn't living there at that time. So he's weaving stories. He's just telling lies. And what does that get him at this point? I don't know. In other cases, he seemed to be delving his own grave, because there's reports about the cell that consisted of 4 people where he denies he was present at a meeting, but he denies being the 4th one. He was just a support person. Also, his reports do not mention who was the 4th member of the cell. While last week he explained that he wanted, or Jeff Shepherd, I don't know, we talked about it, that Jeff Shepherd didn't want Paul Griffith to continue to be part of the cell, and Lambert then insisted that he had to remain part of the cell. So that was what happened. Now he's writing reports about that core, very important meeting, and not mentioning Paul Griffith. We know, and David Barr asked the same questions that I had in my mind. So they arrested Jeff and Andrew for building more incendiary devices and going to plant them somewhere. They arrested them just before that. He doesn't mention Paul Griffith, because Paul Griffith was not to be arrested. Also, remember, he didn't plant his device in the Debenhams case. Because if Paul, Andrew, and Jeff would all have been arrested, and Lambert being the 4th person in the cell, that would, point all in suspicion on him. That who was that information coming from? Must have come from Lambert. And now there were 2 people arrested and 2 people not. So that was quite of what he calls source protection. And yeah, David Barr pointed that to him, but Well, he denied it, obviously.
I mean, he accepted the logic of it, and he said he couldn't recall, obfuscated, and then went into a word salad mode again, which is pretty much what he did for most things. But he couldn't deny that he accepted the logic of it. It made perfect sense, and he really struggled. This was just before the point that he went off on that huge diatribe, which was essentially kind of, it was throwing a dead cat on the table, really, using very emotive language in order to shock the audience. I felt into like forgetting what it was that he was meant to be answering. It's a bold move. I mean, I'm not sure it's going to work in any meaningful sense.
I think it's so clear that there's big holes in his story. I don't know. Did you discuss in the morning briefing the thing about the CCTV?
Yeah, we did mention that, but I mean, I think it bears repeating. We saw the sequence of reports from the police officer Nash, who was the one who collected the CCTV tapes from the Harrow store of Debenhams, put them into the cage at Scotland Yard, and then following a meeting with special branch officers the next day, never released them or never made copies of them for anybody to view. So nobody had seen them. Do you want to add on that?
Yeah, I seem to remember from last week that a tape disappeared. They hit special branch, asked them to hand it over, and he did, and then it went AWOL. Nobody knows where it is. So there's no proof, but it's very suspicious because Harrow was the Debenham store where Lambert placed his device. And wow, what a coincidence that CCTV tape has disappeared into the hands of Special Branch. It was put to him, and he accepted that was a thought you could have, but what could he say? He didn't know anything about that. It was above his pay grade.
Yeah, no, he's done a great deal of evasion, and he's employed various different techniques for his evasion all morning. I don't see any further. It feels unlikely to me he'll do anything other than evade all afternoon as well. I mean, it's pointed out that there's a full year left of his deployment left to go to be examined. Theoretically, he's here this afternoon and then again tomorrow morning. It seems likely to me that we'll be sitting very late tonight. There's a possibility tomorrow, if it is cut short, because we've got Claire Hildreth in the afternoon giving evidence, so he won't be able to do it then. It seems likely to me he'll be returning on Monday and Tuesday, which are the only 2 empty days of the inquiry left. Unless, of course, they've got closed hearings taking place then, which we wouldn't know about anyway. I can't see how they're going to get to the end of Lambert's questioning, anywhere near of it in the time they've allotted for it.
On the other hand, are we waiting for more word salad and more denials and more I can't recalls? It's quite clear that he's not going to say anything, and that it's not like the build-up that David Barr is trying to do is not going to break him. He's very experienced special branch man, and he obviously has. Someone tweeted it's like a masterclass in evading questions, which it is. You know, we just see all kind of ways he's trying to do that, and to kind of move the days for people giving evidence. Like, I know Jessica is supposed to do it on Thursday. She's been waiting for this for years and years. To move that on the very last day before it's supposed to take place is adding to the hurt and to the trauma. I certainly hope that's not going to happen. And, you know, like, if Lambert is coming back any further, I might be out of London, and I don't know if I come back for it, to be honest.
I totally understand. I mean, I can understand. If I hadn't already agreed in my head that I was going to do this no matter what, I certainly would have avoided attending any of the hearings with Bob Lambert. He is the most difficult witness I have come across to listen to, both in a practical sense and also just in what the content that he does throw out is. If there's any sort of substance to it, it's offensive. Yeah. There is no.
But it's like one of the lawyers said. It's heartless. It's like the way he talks about Belinda, about the relationship, how it was just convenient to have a girlfriend. After saying they were really, it was a good relationship. It's just, I've got no words for it. It's like really hard to listen to. You get very angry, you get upset listening to it. Well, the lies affect so many people. It's incredible how manipulative he is and continues to be, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a deep cruelty, and also like you get an element when he is being particularly offensive, particularly cruel, and particularly heartless. There is a joy in his face. He always smiles when he delivers those lines. You get there is something about the sort of the more offensive he's being, the more pleased he is with himself.
Yeah. He's proud of how he is evading all questions and how he's getting through this. I suppose he prepared himself very well with his lawyers who have been here like every day the past few weeks and start to greet me in the morning, where I go like, I don't even want to know you. He's very pleased with himself, and that is, I think, that's the basis of his being and of his, he's also, we shouldn't forget, like, everything that he has been denying now has had him receive a commandment from his superiors and an OBE basically after he retired, and they really, really liked the work he's been doing. So denying everything he did here and now, he's under oath. That's one thing, and he can't be, he can't possibly be. He's not, it's not a trial. He's not going to be sentenced here. So why not just say what happened? There's no reason to deny it and go the other way. But that's not in his capacity, I think. Yeah,
I think that you've hit the nail on the head. He doesn't have the capacity for it, and also that I think he's still fighting that same war. He couldn't possibly allow for his targets to get one over on him. He's still engaged as far as he's concerned. I think that's maybe somewhat part of it. Anyway, anything else you want to add?
I want to get some fresh air because it's killing here.
Yeah. We're back again this afternoon. I'll do another one of these at the end of the day. I'll be doing like the short reports in the breaks. I have been spoken to by the inquiry again about having people in the background when I do those short video reports in the breaks. What do they expect? There's no other place for me to do it. I'll be continuing to do those. I'll be tweeting live from the hearing room. Join us if you can. Cheers.